Hello, good evening, friends. Welcome to the daily answer writing. Okay, today what I have done is I have picked one small editorial from the Indian Express. The editorial is about Prime Minister's speech on rights and duties, which he gave few days back in a seminar. Okay, so I'll just show you the editorial. Okay. Yeah. This is the editorial. If you can see, this is the editorial. The editorial is basically about a very important concept, both in the polity and in the ethics. The concept is on rights and duties. Rights and duties. Recently, Honorable Prime Minister of India has given a speech, and in that speech, he said that the concern for rights are more than duties among the people, and because of that duties are getting ignored. And if India wants to become a developed nation, then citizens must give due importance to duties. Citizens must give due importance to duties. So in this context only, I have, although this editorial does not have any important points, okay, but this concept of rights and duties is very important from the point of GS paper 2, fundamental duties and fundamental rights, in GS paper 2 polity section, and it is also important in the ethics syllabus. Rights and duties are also important in the ethics syllabus. So what I have done is that I have framed couple of questions. I would like to show you what questions I have framed. I have framed couple of questions, and we will try to answer one or two of them today in the live session. We'll try to answer one of two. Okay, so this is a question I have framed. Okay, this is the question I have framed. Do you think imbalance has been created between the current sets of fundamental rights and fundamental duties? If yes, examine the need for adding new fundamental duties. Examine the basically need for adding new fundamental duties. This is the question I have given. The second question what I have framed is that, do you think Indian citizens have ignored fundamental duties? Discuss the strategies to effectuate fundamental duties. So these are the two questions. Let us try to answer these questions. Let us try to answer this question. So let me take a white sheet and let me try to answer this question. Let me try to answer this question for you. Okay. So the first question says that, okay, the first question says that, is there a imbalance? Is there a imbalance? Okay. Between rights and duties. This is the question. This is the question. Is there an imbalance between the rights and duties? Okay. In the context of Indian Constitution, this is talking about Indian Constitution, and the second part says that discuss the need for new fundamental duties. New fundamental duties. Okay. So let us try to analyze this topic. Okay. So before we try to answer this question, it is very important for us to understand the relation between rights and duties. Okay, rights and duties. What is the relation? Okay, so here we have to quote Mahatma Gandhi. Here what we have to do is we can quote Mahatma Gandhi. According to Mahatma Gandhi, all the rights come from duties. All the rights come from duties. A right is nothing but a duty well done. A right is nothing but a duty well done. I'll give you example. Suppose in a company, there is an owner of the company and there are workers of the company. Okay. The right of the worker is to get wages, monthly wages. And what is the duty of the worker? The duty of the worker is to perform the responsibility or responsibility which is given to them, perform it with honesty and dedication. So if suppose workers stop performing their responsibility, if they stop performing their duty, obviously the rights will not be given to them. So they deserve rights. Right is to be get work minimum, well, get the wage, whatever wage they are entitled to, get the wage. But this right will be taken care if they perform their duty. If they do not perform their duty and they just shout for their rights, okay, that rights will be unsustainable. The factory will collapse. Similarly, the owner has the right. What is the right of the owner? The owner has a right to get the works done. But the owner also has duties. What is the duty of the owner? The duty of the owner is to take care of the workers, take care of their wages, take care of the living conditions. So that is the relationship between the rights and duties. So rights are coming from duties. Rights and duties are not mutually exclusive. This we have to understand. That is why it is said that rights and duties are two sides of the same coin. Two sides of the same coin. Rights and duties are correlative. Rights and duties are two sides of the same coin. So the question comes to our mind, when the Indian Constitution was enacted in the year 1950, that time, why the constitutional forefathers avoided putting fundamental duties in the Constitution? We all know that fundamental duties was added later on by the 42nd amendment. By the 42nd amendment, it was added. Fundamental duty was added in the part 4A of the Constitution. Okay, fundamental duty was added. So the question is why it was not added in the first place. Please write in the comment box. Let me see. Please write in the comment box. What was the reason why fundamental duties were not added, although fundamental right was added? And since we are discussing rights and duties are what? Correlated. Rights and duties are correlated. They are two sides of the same coin. Then why our constitutional forefathers avoided putting fundamental duty in the first place? Why? The reason was most of the members of the Constituent Assembly were great leaders, people of high character, and they have lived a life of service. They have lived a life of sacrifice. And during that time of freedom struggle, the entire population was very nationalistic, and they were practicing these duties in their daily life. So they did not feel that we must write fundamental duties also. There was no need of that, because we were practicing these fundamental duties as a way of life. The second reason why we did not add fundamental duties at the beginning of the Constitution was that already preamble had these values inside. For example, we had fraternity, we had justice, we had dignity. All these values were mentioned in the preamble. Further, the fundamental rights also had some corresponding duties. So it was not felt necessary at that time to explicitly mention fundamental duties. But what happened during the 1970s, particularly the early 1970s, there were a lot of protests that time, and protest became a way of life. During that time, the law minister decided that we should have fundamental duties mentioned in the Constitution in order to remind the people of their responsibilities. See, nation is built by its citizens. Nation is not built automatically. Nations do not build automatically. We as a citizen have the responsibility to build this nation. Okay, nation is made of citizens. And when citizens perform their civic duties, then only nations can become great nations. Only great citizens can make great nations. So it is very important that citizens perform their duties. Citizens are aware of their civic responsibilities. And these fundamental duties were added in the constitution because to remind the citizens of their civic responsibility. As a part of living in a community, we derive a lot of rights. Today we have fundamental right to speak. Today I am speaking in front of you because the constitution has given me the right to speak. Okay, but at the same time, living in a community, living in a state, we also have some responsibilities, we also have some duties, and we have to perform these duties. Then only the state will survive and the state will prosper. The nation will survive and nation will prosper. Otherwise, if everyone is going after duty rights, not caring about the duties, then that right will not be sustainable, my friend. That right will not be sustainable. And in the last 30-40 years, particularly after 1970s, what has happened? Okay, there has been expansion of fundamental rights. Because of judicial activism, because of the great service provided by Honorable Supreme Court in protecting and upholding the fundamental rights of citizens. Through Article 21 of the Constitution, fundamental rights have been expanded. The scope of fundamental rights have been expanded. A lot many inferred rights have been added to our fundamental rights. And this has made people more right conscious. Let me write this word, right conscious. Okay. But correspondingly, what has not happened is that people have not become duty conscious. Duty consciousness is missing. Duty consciousness is missing among the people. On one hand, right consciousness is increasing. Rights are increasing every day. One new right is being added. On the other hand, what is happening to duties? See, rights and duties are correlated to each other. One cannot survive without the other. Right is the right from the duties performed. But if everyone is going after rights, who will do the duties? Will the relationship will be sustainable? It will not be a sustainable relationship, my friend. That is why there is need to expand the fundamental duties also, as the rights have been expanded. Can you think of some fundamental duties which need to be added to the Constitution? Can you name them? Can you write in the comment box? I would be very happy to see your comments in the comment box. What are the different fundamental duties you think must be added to the Constitution? So the question, if you can answer the question, let us try to answer the question. So the question says that, is there imbalance between fundamental rights and fundamental duties? Yes, there has been an imbalance. Imbalance in what? The rights have been expanded, but duties have not been expanding. Duties have not expanded. We have the same duties which were added in the 1970s. Only one duty was added after later on. Okay. But rights, you see, so many rights have been expanded. So there is an imbalance. People are more right conscious. People are not thinking about the duties. So there is an imbalance. We have to correct this imbalance by adding new fundamental duties. Let me write few new fundamental duties which can be added to the Constitution. Okay, like right to vote. Duty to vote. Sorry. See, I am also only talking about rights. See, that is what duty. We have to think about our duty also. Okay, so duty to vote. Duty to pay taxes. Duty to help others in crisis. duty to protect public property, duty to protect whistleblowers. Like this, many fundamental duties can be added, which will balance the imbalance which has been created between fundamental rights which have been expanding and fundamental duties which have not been expanding, they have been stagnating. So we can add these new fundamental duties to our constitution, part 4A of the constitution. In the end, what you can write, that rights can only come from the duties performed, and as citizens we have to be conscious of our civic responsibilities, civic duties. Then only we can make this nation a great nation. Is this clear? Is this clear? And that is one more thing is needed, is that the second question which I have framed, how to create awareness about fundamental duties, how to effectuate fundamental duties. So we need to create awareness, mass campaign, mass movement. We have to bring these fundamental duties as part of our curriculums, as part of our curriculum in education institutes, in colleges. We have to bring this. So effectuation of fundamental duties is very important. Although we have fundamental duties, but no one talks about fundamental duties. No one talks about fundamental duties. Only where you will see protest, rights, we want rights, we want rights. But what about duties? Who will talk about duties? Duties are also very important part of our citizenship. As a part of a citizen, as a part of this political community, we get rights. At the same time, we have some corresponding duties. If we neglect our duties and we are only running after rights, then those rights will be unsustainable, my friends. So we need to create this awareness. We need to create the duty consciousness. We need to bring duty in the curriculum, education curriculum. We need to bring duty in our way of life. So these things we can write. And here we can talk about the Swaran Singh Committee. Here we can talk about the National Commission to review the working of Constitution. Here we can also quote Verma Committee on effectuation of fundamental duties. See, my friends, I'm telling you that in the questions of polity, it is very important for you to mention the constitutional provisions. Here, part 4A of the Constitution, Article 51A, we have to mention, because it's a question on fundamental rights and fundamental duties. Part 3 of the Constitution, we have to mention. We have to mention the constitutional committees. We have to mention the various committees which have gone into these fundamental duties. For example, the Verma Committee on Effectuation of Fundamental Duties, the National Commission to review the working of Constitution. All these committees have commented upon the state of fundamental duty in India and the need for effectuation of these fundamental duties. There is a need to effectuate these fundamental duties, the need to create awareness, mass campaign about fundamental duties. There is need to build citizenship values among people, civic values among people, and then only we can become a great nation. Remember, my friends, great nation cannot be built without great citizens. Only great citizens can make great nations. And we, as responsible citizens of this country, it is incumbent upon us so that we perform our duties with the same zeal, as we protect our rights, as we demand our rights. With the same zeal, we also perform our fundamental duties. And there is need to expand our fundamental duties. And these duties, my friends, I have mentioned, some of them I have mentioned. I would like to know from, from you also. Please write in the comment box. Okay. So I hope that this discussion was useful to you. If you really like this discussion and you want me to continue this daily, please subscribe to the channel. Please give a comment and please share with your friends. Okay, things which are good must be shared with others. Thank you.